students, welcome to our class. Today our class is physics and our chapter name is light, shadow and reflection. This is one new chapter and you can see this chapter in your textbook page number 107. This is one simple chapter and today we are going to discuss this. So, first of all, I am going to ask you something. What is this? This is one triangle. How you observe that? By using your eyes. And what is this black screen? This is blackboard. And what is this? This is chalk. All these objects you are identified using your eyes. And how you see all these things? For example, I am just offing this light. Is it possible to see this object, this blackboard, this triangle? Is it possible? No, it is not possible when there is no light. If it's daytime, when you off the light, still they have sunlight. They have sunlight. So, you can see the objects with the presence of sunlight. And if it's night, we are using bulb and all. And if it's having no bulb, that means if we are offing the light, what happens? It is not possible to see anything. That means this blackboard, this chalk, this triangle, these are some of the examples. So, we cannot see if there is no light. For example, I am just taking one candle and lighting this. Now, here is no light. And when I light this candle, then is it possible to see this blackboard, this triangle, this chalk? Yeah, you can see this if we are lighting the candle in darkness. So we can say for seeing objects, it is very important to have the presence of light. It is very important to have the presence of light. If there is no light, it is not possible to see objects or identify objects. So that is the first thing that is mentioned in your textbook. Just read it. Very simple things. And so now I am going to give you a simple task. Very simple. Just pause the video and observe your surroundings and write the things that you can see in your surroundings. That means just write 15 objects that you can see in your surroundings. Simple task. Just write the names. It may be book, pencil, pen, television or bulb. Like anything that you can see in your surroundings. Write 15 names of the objects after observation. So, I hope your work is complete now. Now we are moving to the next topic. Here you just did that. Observe the objects and wrote the name, and how you see that with the presence of some sort of light. There are different types of light source are there. Light source means, first we want to discuss what is this light source. Light source. What is this light source? Light source means the source which produces light. The source or the substance which produce light are called light source. Which are the examples for this light source? There are different types of light sources are there. Which is the big light source that is in our earth? Very simple, that is our sun. Sun is the first big light source that is in our earth. And which are the other light source that we can see? The bulb. Different types of bulb are there, that means the fluorescent lamp or the CFL lamp, LED lamp, like different types of bulb are there. All these are source of light or light source. The other one, candle. These all are the different types of light source. That means the source which produce light. And these all the things are producing light by their own. They are producing light by their own. That means I am saying it like this because there are some objects which are having light, but it is not the light by their own. So the sun is producing light by its own, this bulb is producing light by its own, and this candle is producing light by its own. Or we can say, in generally for the light we are not using the term producing, we can say it as emitting light. Emitting light means the meaning is same, it produce light, but in generally for the light we are using it emit light. That means it give out light. So the examples for the light sources are sun, bulb, candle, etc. There are different types of light sources are there. You can add more examples. And all these can be there in a particular name, and that is luminous objects. Luminous objects. The meaning is same as the light source, but generally we are calling the luminous objects means the objects which produce light by their own. I am not saying this light source is the source which is producing light by their own. It also can produce light with the help of other source. That means the reflection and all we will discuss later. So for this, sun, bulb, candle are all luminous objects. So you want to remember this term luminous object and also want to study the definition of luminous objects. So first we are going to study what is this luminous objects. Luminous objects. The objects which give out or emit light of their own are called luminous objects. So, this is the definition for luminous objects. I already said, now we are stating it in a neat statement. Luminous objects are the objects, these are a particular type of objects which give out or emit light. That means which giving out or emit light of their own. They are producing light or they are emitting light or they are giving out light by their own are called luminous objects. For example, this is white paper, and do this white paper is producing light? No. So this object is not luminous object. But when we are taking one bulb or one candle, it is what? Luminous object, because it is producing light by their own. The examples are these, we already said, sun, bulb, etc. So this is the definition for luminous object. You want to study this. The objects which give out or emit light of their own are called luminous objects. So that is about the luminous object. I hope it's clear for you. Now the next question is this. How we are seeing objects? We already said that with the help of eye, with the help of light, we are seeing the object. That's okay. But how we are seeing the object? We already said that for seeing a particular object. For example, how we are seeing this paper? For that, first we need light. Object and are very important to see a particular object. And now my question is, how is it possible to see a particular object with this light, object and eye? That is the question. The process is very simple. Suppose one ball is placed here. This is ball. And our light source, suppose this is sun, is there, and my eye is present here. And actually, how is this ball is visible by our eye? What is the procedure? The procedure is very simple. And for suppose there is no sun. Is it possible to see this ball by this eye? No. The procedure is very simple. The sunlight is first hitting on the ball. The sunlight is first hitting on the ball, and then this light is travel back to our eye. So, the light is traveling to our eye. This is the procedure how we can see any substance. For example, here you can see this paper. The procedure we can explain as the light from the bulb hit on the paper, and then that light ray is traveling to my eye or to your eye. That's how you can see this paper. That's we are explaining through this diagram. So, the light ray from the source. Here we selected the source as sun, and so the light ray from the source is traveling to the ball or hitting on the ball, and then that light ray is traveling to our eye. And that's how we are seeing the object. Travel to eye. So this is how we can see objects. For all objects, we can see like this. If we are seeing anything, the light from the source is traveling to the object, and then it is coming to our eye, and actually the process we are calling it as reflection. Reflection. So now just look this term. We will discuss it later, and it is there in detail in the coming session of this chapter. Now just remember reflection. Only the term reflection. Actually, this reflection means the bounce back of light to our eye, or not eye. For any surface, when the light is hitting and coming back, we are calling it as reflection. We will discuss it later in detail. Now, you just focus here that when the light is hitting on a substance and it is coming back to our eye, then we can see the objects. So, this is all about how we can see objects. Now, we are moving to the next topic. This actually we studied in our last chapter. In the previous chapter, that we classified the substances into three, the sorting materials. In that chapter, we discussed this. As the substances are classified into three, that means transparent material, translucent material, and opaque material of substances. So these are the three classification we already studied, and we already know the definition for what is this transparent, what is this translucent, what is this opaque. We already studied. Now first we are going to remember what we studied in that chapter. And after that we are going to connect this topic to our shadow. So first of all, what is this transparent substance? Transparent substances are the substances which allow light to pass through. Allow light to pass through. Allow light to pass through. And what about the translucent? It partially allow light to pass through. Partially allow light to pass through. And what about the opaque substance? The substances which do not allow light to pass through. Do not allow light to pass through. So these are the three things that different substances, transparent, translucent and opaque. We already studied this and that's why I am not explaining this. Now the thing is this. Is it possible to see through all these substances? For example, this is one transparent material. This is one glass piece. And when I hold this, is it possible to see this? Yeah, of course we can see. So we can say through the transparent material we can see. We can see. And what about the translucent? Using the translucent, this is one translucent piece of paper. And when we are observing this, we can see but partially we can see. Partially we can see. And what about the opaque? Here, this book piece is one opaque. So, is it possible to see the written pieces when this book is here? No. So, we can say this is opaque. And so, the opaque substances do not allow light to pass through. And also, we can say it is not possible to see through this opaque. Not possible to see. Not possible to see. These things we already know in the last chapter. Now the question is this. Is it possible to make shadow using the transparent substance? Using the translucent? Using the opaque? That is the next question. That means, is it possible to make shadow using transparent, translucent and opaque? That is the thing now we are going to discuss. You already know what is this shadow. We can see the black patch is there made on the wall, ground or somewhere. So, now the question is, which type of substance is producing this shadow? Now we are going to check that using the substances. Now we are going to do one activity using transparent material, translucent material and also using opaque material, and this is torch. I am going to give light and going to check which are the substances which produce shadow. That is our aim of the experiment. So first we are going to check using the transparent material. Here I selected one piece of glass. So we can check what happens. So here I am using the torch and giving light on this glass piece. Have any shadow? No shadow is there produced on the blackboard. Now we are going to check using the another material, that is translucent. For the translucent, what happens? Here you can see some sort of small shadow is produced. But still it is blur. Blur shadow is there produced when we are using the translucent material. And next one is this, the opaque substance. When we are selecting the opaque substance, you can see the shadow is very bright and that is very clear. The shadow is very clear. You can see the shadow produced on the blackboard. And when I am changing the position of light, you can see that the size of the image, that means the shadow produced on the board is getting changed. Sometimes it is getting smaller and sometimes it is getting bigger. That depends upon the position of the light. So, when I am twisting this piece of book, then the shape is getting changed. And I will show another example using one lens. When I am putting this light on this lens, what you can see? At the center of this is one transparent material, the lens. And surrounding this, what is this? It is having a frame. And when you can see the board, it is very clear that the transparent materials not produce shadow, but the opaque substance produce shadow. That means the frame of this lens is nothing but opaque substance. So you can see the shadow of the opaque substance is produced on the blackboard, and no shadow is produced by the lens. So this is the output of our experiment. From the experiment, you observed that using the opaque substance, we can produce shadow. Using the transparent material, it is not possible to produce shadow, but using the translucent, we can make shadow, but it is not so bright as this opaque substance. So, you just want to focus on this opaque substance, that the substance which produce shadow is opaque substance. And what are the other substances which need to produce shadow? If only the opaque substance is possible to make shadow? No. With only the presence of light, we can make shadow. So, the important things that need to make shadow, first one is opaque substance. The second one is light. That means, for example, this is one dark room and in my hand there is having one opaque substance. Is it possible to make shadow? No. It is only possible to make shadow with the presence of light and also with the presence of opaque substance. And now my question is anything another need to make this shadow? That means, for the activity, I focus the shadow on this blackboard. Sometimes we can focus that on the wall, or sometimes when we are walking through under sunlight, we can see our shadow is on the floor. So, all the shadow we are focusing on a particular space. That means it is actually the screen. That means for my activity, if here no blackboard is there, not blackboard, if there is no wall is there, it is not possible to show you the shadow. It's not mean that here no shadow is there. Actually, with the presence of opaque substance and the light, they produce shadow. But it is very important to the presence of screen to see that. So we can say, or we can conclude this region as to see the shadow. Three things are required. The first one is this opaque substance. The second one is this a particular light source, even if it's sunlight, candlelight, torch, anything. So the light source, and also we need screen. This is very important. If there is no screen, there will have shadow, but it is not possible to see through our eyes. If we need to see that, it needs a screen there. So that is the thing that mentioned in your textbook. Just read it. So these are the three things that required to see the shadow. Now the another question is this. Do the shadow is giving the clear concept of the object? Or clear details of the object? What do you think? For example, we are doing one activity that near sunlight. Selecting one. This suppose 3 chairs we are selecting. This is green, this is red, and this is blue. And these all are placed under sunlight and we are there on a plain ground. So the shadow produced by these chairs can be made on the ground. And what about the shadow? Do the green chair, red chair and this blue chair is giving different shadows on ground? No. All these chairs are in same size. So we can say all these chairs are producing same type of shadow. It is not able to say the color of the chair. And when it is placed in a particular position, it gives a particular shape. And when I am twisting this chair, what happens? The shape of the shadow will convert into another shape. That means when we do the experiment, you can see that when I twist the book, the image produced on the board is also getting changed. So we can say actually within the shadow it gives some sort of details, but it is not clear. And also some cases we get proper shape and all. For example, when we are selecting a rectangle and giving light and producing the shadow, it will give the proper shape. It is rectangle, that's okay. But in some cases these shadow details are going to mislead us. For example, in your textbook you can see in the figure 11.4 some shadows are there. The shadow is nothing but the shadow produced by our hands, and that shadows are having the shape of some animals. So just observe that and understand all the shadows are not giving the proper details. Some are giving the shape and all, but still it is having some insufficient details are the hide with the shadow. So actually this shadow is the absence of light produced by the presence of light. So for making shadow, three things required, don't forget. The first thing is opaque substance, the second one is light, and the third one is the screen. If there is three things are present, we can produce shadow. And so today we are going to conclude our class. Now I am giving you two exercises to do today. It's the first exercise and the second one you want to do. Very simple exercises are there, and you can see the question in the page number 130 at the bottom side. The first one and the second one. In the first one, it is just give some sort of splitted letters are there. You just make it a single word and it is some sort of fun. You just do it. And the second one is this. They just give some sort of list of substances. You want to classify it into transparent, opaque and translucent. You are familiar to do that in our previous chapter itself also. So the activity is very simple. First one you just do it in your textbook itself using pencil, and the second one you want to do it in your notebook after completing today's notebook. So these all are about today's class. Nothing is there. We simply explained about the light and the formation of shadow within a screen, and this is all about today's topic, and we will discuss the coming topics in the next day.